Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha, where we bring you cutting edge conversation while exploring the quantum possibilities. And we're going to do it again tonight with one of our favorite returning guests. We've got a little handful of favorite guests, and Bill is certainly one of them. But before we get started, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you for supporting us in the chat room. And thank you for joining us at the Mastermind Connection on Sundays at 2 p.m., where we get together and we manifest benevolent things for people, places, beings, the world. And if you haven't joined us yet, you can send an email to the Mastermind Connection, all one word, at gmail.com. Augie will send you the link. It's 2 p.m. Eastern. You can come hang out with us and see if it's something that you like. And, before we get started, I've been thinking about this all day, because my phone has been like going crazy with some chats that I'm in. And of course, even though I try to stay away from the news, somehow the news like seeps in. Um, you know, if anything makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to listen to it. If anyone makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to be with them. If any of these videos that you watch make you uncomfortable, change the video. Go to frequency healing or something like that. A lot of people are feeling anxious. A lot of people's PTSD is kicking in. And just know that I have been sending out beautiful healing waves for anybody who's having an issue or having anxiety all day today. So it's out there for you just to grab onto it if you are a person that is very sensitive and you're feeling things right now. So, with that being said, I'll get off my soapbox. Augie, you want to introduce our guest, please?
Yeah, and I just can't help it. I got to follow up with what Nori said because we probably don't know how important it is to keep our head clean, comfortable, and calm, and at a higher vibration of thinking. Because thoughts are things and they create in our reality. It's just like TV. If there's something that on TV you don't like, you switch channel. Let's do the same thing. And because right now they're tricky times. There's a lot of people out there creating negative stuff in their mind. Let's not get caught up in it. And gosh, Nori, I'm sorry. I just had to say that. And yes, we have Bill Mee
Yay!
returning. Bill Mee returning to Broadcasting Alpha, and you probably know him very well. He's been in the, I was gonna say a few things about him. He's been in the military as a computer software engineer, and he worked for General Dynamics doing stuff that he can't talk about probably. And he's now a light worker, and he's a researcher, and he's part of the mastermind. And somebody came up with a term when I mentioned he was going to be on the show, and I think she called him cosmic reporter or cosmic journalist. And I think
That's
that
good.
fits really well because he's going to talk about what really is going on and what is about to happen, according to our friends in the sky and what we find here. So, welcome to the show again, Bill.
Welcome, Bill. So good to
Glad to
have
be
you.
here.
Hey, it's
Glad
always
to be
good to
here.
talk with you.
Yeah, gosh,
Where do we start in this world of possibilities? Wow, there's so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. We're 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 really coming. I think we're really in the most exciting times we that could ever be right now. I've been waiting like since once I learned about the Dark Cabal and their agenda back in 1992. I've been a truth seeker ever since, and I've always wondered how is the cabal going to be defeated? How are we going to win this war? And so I've always tried to keep up with the news. And one of the big issues that I always had was 92. I'd woken up about the cabal, but I didn't know anything about why we were seeing these strange objects in the sky all the time. And so I really wanted to know, what is these UFOs that we keep seeing in our skies? And I kept researching and listening to, various broadcasts and reading some books and so forth, but I never really got anywhere as to who are they? If there's beings piloting these craft, who are they and why are they here? I never could really get at that answer, and that's the answer I really wanted to get at. So in my search, it was around 2003, 2004. I had come across some lightworker messages. And when I started reading these lightworker messages, they were coming from galactic beings and ascended masters and archangels. And then the ones I were most intrigued by were the ones from the galactic beings. And as I started reading these, they started telling me in the messages who they were, why they're here, and that they do pilot UFO craft that we see in our sky. So I was getting the answer to my long searched for question. And that got me hooked. I said, okay, when I did read, hear a lot, or I read a lot of things in some of these lightworker messages that didn't line up with my Christian background at the time, things like reincarnation and things like that. But I just felt like I was still reading the truth. So I kind of like had this, there was a conflict because I had believed in this religion for so long. And then at this point, they were saying things that didn't line up with what the Bible said. So I didn't want to dismiss it like a lot of people do. They'll hear something, and if it doesn't line up with their past beliefs, they just dismiss it and throw it out. And I kind of learned you don't want to really do that, because you don't know if what you originally believed is really the truth. So
Exactly.
yeah, so I continued to kind of keep reading them. And what really got my attention was when I would, like, for instance, on the reincarnation issue, I would read a lightworker message that said, yeah, reincarnation is something that happens all the time. It's a normal thing. And I thought, okay, that's one source from this particular galactic being. But then I'd read another lightworker message channeled by a different person, and that entity said the same thing. Then I'd read another lightworker message that said, again, different entity channeled by a different lightworker. And again, they were saying, yes, reincarnation is real. And so I started, thinking about that, because, I have a math background. I take a whole lot of math to get a computer science degree. And I knew that the probability of this being true, when you have someone from one, a light worker that doesn't know the other light worker, and they're channeling a different entity, what are the odds that they're saying the same thing is going to be true? It starts to grow exponentially mathematically each time you add a new light worker. Okay, so
Yeah.
I would get like 3 light workers that said, "Oh yeah, reincarnation's a normal thing. Yeah, it's real." And then, but see, I didn't just get like 2 or 3. As I kept reading more light worker messages, it got to be over 100. So what are the odds that you would have 100 different entities channeled by different light workers, all saying this thing is true, this particular thing is true? It gets to be so astronomical that I just had to accept it. That yeah, this is real. Reincarnation is real. So that's how I confirmed a lot of truth. Is I would read lightworker messages. I would read another lightworker message and see if they try to, I might read one lightworker message, and it would be something that I would question, or something that I maybe didn't line up with my background or my religion. But I'd read another lightworker message, and it would confirm the first lightworker message. And then I'd read another lightworker message, and it would confirm those lightworker messages. So the way you confirm whether a lightworker message is true is you just keep reading them. And as you keep reading them, you start to compound. Okay, they're all saying the same thing. And if they're all
Yeah.
saying the same thing, the odds are so high, it's got to be true. So the best
Mhm.
way, a lot of people will read a light worker message and they don't know if it's true or not. Well, what you need to do is keep reading them and see if
Exactly.
it's repeated again, if it's maybe by a different entity from a different star system, by a different light worker. And if he's saying the same thing, you know it's true eventually if you get enough of them. So, so that when I got my answer to that why the UFOs are here, who they are, then I wanted to know, okay, what's the overall divine plan? Okay, they're here. So what's the big divine plan all about? And that's what I've always kind of been searching for. And I've been listening to one light worker by the name of Blossom Goodchild, and she channels a group called the Federation of Light. And I want to read here who they are because I'm always kind of interested as who some of these entities are that
Yeah.
come through various
Yeah,
light.
go ahead.
Okay, it says here, based on, okay, it says here, the Federation of Light appears to be a collective consciousness or a group of ascended masters channeled through Blossom Goodchild, a spiritual messenger and author. That's who she is. She's a spiritual messenger and an author. And the Federation of Light is described as having been found over 404.5 million years ago to prevent interdimensional dark forces from dominating and exploiting the galaxy. They consist of approximately 200,000 member star nations, confederations, or unions, with 40% being humanoids and the rest various forms of sentient beings. Most members are fully conscious beings. The Federation of Light communicates through Blossom Goodchild, providing guidance, wisdom, and insights on various topics, including spiritual growth, ascension, the unfolding of the human history, the they emphasize the importance of individual choice, free will, encouraging humanity to awaken to their true nature and potential. So I started, I like listening to her go back and forth because what she does when she channels, she does a dialogue. Some light workers are able to dialogue back and forth instead of just listening to one message come through from the entity. She's able to actually ask more questions and they follow up with her and they go back and forth.
Oh,
So,
that's neat.
Yeah.
so she recently put out a message that when it comes to the Federation of Light was appointed by Creator Source to oversee the divine plan of planet Earth and to carry it out. And there's 5 stages. Now stage 1 started out with the first lockdown, COVID and lockdown and all that. Okay, that was the first phase. That woke up that we had a great awakening because of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that phase 1 has been very, very long. We've been all patient. We're all kind of on the edge of our seat waiting for what's going to happen next. Okay, because there's a great awakening that has happened to the point to where people are starting to now get more interested in spirituality and where is this planet headed and so forth. So now we're getting very, very close to what they call phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be another lockdown. And phase 2, though, is going to be a lot different than the first lockdown, because I think this lockdown is going to be decided by the light forces or the white hats or the Earth Alliance. Okay, they're the ones that are going to trigger it. And it's probably going to start out with one big, maybe event. Now, it could be an event that the dark forces trigger, maybe a false flag or something like that. But whatever is the event that triggers it, there's going to be a lockdown. And I think what's going to happen is all the airwaves are going to be taken over.
Mm.
And the Earth Alliance, I think, has the ability with the galactic help to take over all communication satellites. I think they're going to use, though, this thing called Starlink, which Elon Musk actually put up there all over. You can get now
Yep.
internet all over the planet now with that Starlink. So
Right.
probably, I think they're, according to Zor from the Hollow Earth, he said it's the only thing you're going to get. Everything is going to be like all your television networks, no matter what channel you turn on, you're just going to get this one big announcement. And I think it's going to last for 10 days. That's what some people are referring to as the 10 days of darkness. But the darkness only refers to the fact that it's exposing the dark ones and their dark agenda. So I don't really like that term. I like the term 10 days of disclosure, or
Yeah.
or another
Yeah.
name I like is called the Great Reveal.
Mhm.
And the reason I like that one is because what's going to happen during these 10 days when they do this lockdown is they're going to be revealing how this planet has been run for the last millennia. And they're going to reveal who the dark players are and their dark agenda. And according to the Federation of Light, they said that it's going to cause people to just go bonkers. They're going to go reeling because they're going to be hearing truths that many of them may not want to accept. Some people may accept the truth, but they're going to have to, let it sink in. They may have to digest what they heard for a while. And so they're going to listen in and hear it, but then it's going to take a while for it to really I think what happens is a lot of times you'll hear the truth, but it doesn't really set in yet. And then over time it starts, okay, and you start to have to face the truth. So
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen over these 10 days. Now, it's not only going to reveal the cabal, I think it's going to also reveal um, not only their dark agenda and expose who they are and what they've done, like all the different false flags that they did, all the wars, all the pandemics, everything that they've ever done. It's going to also reveal some of the new things that are going to come online, like maybe the quantum financial system, or maybe the new republic here in the United States, or possibly maybe the new currency. So that will follow, I think. I don't think that's going to be right up front. The first thing they're going to do is expose the cabal, I think, and then after that, they'll probably get into the other issues. And maybe toward the very end of that, might finish off with galactic disclosure.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm really looking for.
Yeah. I'm wondering though, it sounds wonderful and I can see this happening. But what about the people that is deeply involved in the fraud?
Yeah.
Will they rise up and try to create problems in this process, or do you think it'll slide by fairly simple?
It's going to be what's really helping out is the energies that are coming in right now. They're gradually, before, like about a decade ago, these energies would come in from either the sun or the great central sun, or from the galactics themselves. They have ways of uh, getting celestial energies to come in and hit our planet. And when these energies come in, they affect your emotions and they affect your physical body. And some people have a hard time adjusting. It really depends on where their vibration is. So if they have a very low vibration, these energies are hitting them and they have to make adjustments. And what these energies cause are what are known as ascension symptoms. Okay, it's your body trying to adjust to a higher vibration. And some people at a high vibration can take these energies and accept them and just go right on along and no problem. But other people, you'll notice they're having a really hard time. And your diet and drinking lots of water and getting rest is really important during these times. And if you do feel what these energies typically make, what I've known for me, and this is for others as well, is they will make you feel very tired and very lethargic. And that is because your body is telling you, you need to lie down so I can start adjusting. I need some downtime. And if you don't take that downtime, you're going to make it harder on yourself. So if you feel you're feeling really tired and you don't know why, it's probably because of the energies, and you just need to lie down and rest. And if you have to, the more, just keep, however much time you think you need, just take it.
Take it. Take it.
Now,
I love,
meditation, meditation will help you raise your vibration so that you can take in more of those energies. So it's good to do a lot of vibration, I think.
Yeah, no, that's good, Bill. And like when I do an energy medicine session on somebody, especially if they've gone for an hour, I
Yeah.
say to them, make sure you rest because you moved all of this energy and now your body has to catch up with it. So a
Mhm.
lot of people feel guilty because they're not understanding that they're moving energy, and a lot of us have been preparing for this by learning how to alchemize, the energy. Like we feel the hit. I don't know about you guys, but I feel the hit, but
Yeah.
but then I know what to do about it.
Right, right,
So
right. Now,
yeah, I love that.
before what they would do is they would give us a blast of energy, and then they would give us a break so that
Mhm.
everybody on the planet could adjust. Maybe it'd be a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months. And then we'd get another blast of energy. And then they
Yeah.
take another break and we'd have to get adjust. But right now, we got to a high enough threshold to where now they noticed that we were able to adapt more quickly when we do
Mhm.
get blasted with higher vibrational energies. And so now we're getting it almost continuously. No more long breaks. You either
Right.
keep up or you're out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they're coming in and they're coming in very frequently, almost on a weekly basis. I keep hearing about, okay, the sun is another solar flare, another
Yeah.
blast of energy is coming in. And they're going to
Mhm.
continue to keep doing this because as we raise our vibration on the surface of Gaia, it raises the collective vibration and we start to shift and move into a higher vibration. And the goal is of this whole process is for Gaia to shift into 5D. And there's this symbiotic relationship between her vibration and our vibration. So if she raises her vibration, it helps raise our vibration. And then if we raise our vibration, we help assist her in raising her vibration. So it's a symbiotic relationship that goes back and forth. And that's
Yeah.
what's happening right now. Now she's getting very, very close to 5D right now. I think I've heard some light workers and others have said she's already in 5D. We're playing
Mhm.
catch up. We're just catching up, trying to get up to 5D with her,
Yeah.
or most of us. Now everybody's at a different level, but collectively, I think we're all much higher than we were, say, 10 years ago.
Oh, no
And so,
doubt.
yeah. So what's
Yeah.
happening now when these energies come in? The light permeates every area. All darkness on the planet gets permeated by this vast amount of light, and it starts to get exposed. And that's what's happening with the cabal right now. All their dark deeds and everything they've ever done is starting to get exposed, and they're getting found out more and more and more. And another thing these energies do is that it causes their plans, because we're in this higher vibration. They used to be able to do things and get away with it, and there's no consequences because there's a big lag time with what you do and your intentions versus feeling the consequences of those things. But now with the energies as high as they are, our manifestation abilities and everything gets closer and closer to being almost instantaneous. So that means
Mhm.
your karma is also instantaneous. So when the cabal does something that's very dark, they get immediate karma back almost. It almost comes right back to them. And so what that does is it causes most of their plans to backfire. So what they
Okay.
thought they could get away with is not working anymore. And this is great. So so everything that they've tried right now, a lot of times I've seen, okay, they had this plan, but it didn't work, or they had this plan, but that didn't work either. So you might hear a lot of things that they're planning and then nothing
Mm.
ever happens. Well, it's because the energies more or less stopped it or prevented it in some way, shape, or form. So that's a good thing. So I
Yeah.
think I think we're smooth sailing from here on out. Now they might try one more big event. They were trying to create a World War III just recently, as you noticed, if you listened to that, that was going on. They didn't get anywhere with that. I think we had some
Yeah.
maybe divine, I think we had some divine intervention to negotiate, and they got Trump in there and he started doing some negotiating and they prevented that scenario. So that's not, I don't think that's going to happen. And the
Yeah.
Galactics
That.
they've assured the Galactics in their messages that there will not be a third world war and there will not be any nukes that go off, because if those happen, it would upset the ascension timeline. And they're here. The reason they're even here is that they were called here when Mother Gaia she actually cried out about 80 years ago. She was near death from all the death and destruction of World War I and World War II. And she said she didn't want to die. She wanted to ascend back to her former glory, because she used to be at a higher vibration of 5D back in the days of Lemuria and Atlantis. And she wanted to go back and ascend back to that higher vibration. So when she cried out, the other planets heard her cries, and Source Creator heard her cries, and he sent the Galactic Federation here to honor her wishes. So the reason the Galactic Federation is even here is not really for us. They're here to make sure Gaia's wishes are honored and that she gets to ascend to 5D. We on the surface, we just get to go along for the ride, provided we can raise our vibration and keep up with her. You see, she's constantly going to keep going. She's not going to stop. If we can keep up with her, we get to ascend with her. And that's the exciting part. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. You keep mentioning ascension and 5D. Does the galactics, have they told you anything about the process involved with that? You know, everybody that's ever been born on Earth is ascending. They do when they die. But this, I'm hoping, is a different form of ascension.
Yes, it is.
Have they said anything about that?
Yes. Okay. Zor's always said, from Hollow Earth, he's always said, no one really dies. He says, you just ascend.
Yeah.
You leave your body and you ascend back to the higher 5D heavenly realms. Okay. Some people do get earthbound and have to stick around a while, but most people end up moving on to the higher vibrations. It depends on your vibration when you leave your body, whether you stay earthbound or whether you move on to the higher heavenly vibrations of 5D. But what makes this, now planets do ascend on their own all the time. And most civilizations, though, don't reside on the surface of the planet. We're one of the exceptions. We may be the only exception, because I haven't heard any other planets that really have a vast civilization on the surface. Like, for instance, there's a being here that came here from the planet Venus, and his name was Valiant Thor. And he arrived here back in the 50s, maybe even earlier than that. And he spent 3 years working at the Pentagon. And Dr. Strange just met him and wrote a whole book about him called Stranger from the Pentagon. And Valiant Thor said he does not, he's from the planet Venus, but he said, we don't live on the surface of the planet. Everybody knows it's pretty hot on the surface. But he says, we live in the interior of the planet. He says, all civilizations live in the interior of planets, not on the surface, because when planets are formed, they're all formed with a hollow. They don't have like this core that we've been taught from 3rd grade, that we have this solid. It didn't know. That's all lies. So anyway, we have a civilization that lives in our planet. So that's the Hollow Earth people, and then there's also people that live in the actual crust part of the Earth. That's the inner Earth. And so we have some people like under Mount Shasta, that's Telos. And then we have the Garthans in Hollow Earth. Then we have Shambhala and others. And they're going to be coming to the surface very soon and meet up with us. But you were asking about ascension. What makes this ascension different is that we on the surface are going to be ascending with the planet. And this is the first time that the people on the surface of the planet are ascending at the same time the planet is ascending. And what else makes it different is that we are now ascending, we are going to be ascending with our bodies, our physical bodies. That's never been done before. We're the vast, now the individuals have ascended, like your ascended masters, but they pass on and then they ascend into a higher vibration, and then they stay in that higher plane of existence and continue to help us on the surface of the planet. You know, that'd be like people like Saint Germain or Kuan Yin or Katumi, and there's a whole bunch of them. And they also provide channeled messages to us. So what your question, you were asking about what makes this ascension different, is that one, we're ascending with Gaia and we're ascending in body. So we're going to take our bodies with us. So that means our bodies have to raise to a higher vibration, because it won't be able to survive. It has to move up to that vibration, and we can't handle those energies and move suddenly to 5D. We would die. It'd be too much of a shock on the body. So we have to gradually get our bodies to adjust. And that's why we've been getting these energies in gradually coming in, and now they're speeding up even more frequently. But as our bodies adjust to these incoming energies, we're going to be shifting into a higher light body. That's our higher 5D light body is going to happen. And I think that's going to probably take place in the future event that is called the solar flash. And that's a term that's been going around a lot. And we just got a recent message from the Galactics, and they referred to it as the solar reset. And they said we're probably about 2 to 3 months away from the solar reset. They don't know for sure. Because they said all galactics, they don't even know when this is going to happen. The only one that knows is Creator Source. But when it's going to be a big blast of energy. And Zor from Hollow Earth says it is the way he refers to it as the rainbow wave. Because when it comes in, it's going to start in the east and it's going to work itself all the way around the planet. And when you look up in the sky, it's going to be like a rainbow sky. And it's going to be kind of like a fog, and it's going to come rolling in and keep moving itself around the planet. And as it hits everybody, it starts to transform every person that it encounters. In fact, the Federation of Light referred to that as phase. I think that's the next phase. Let me see which phase that is. Okay, phase 2 is the second lockdown. Okay, phase 3 is, okay, coming to terms. Okay, phase 3, they say, is the coming to terms with what happened in phase 2. In other words, you got so blown away with what you heard in phase 2, it's going to take you quite a little bit of time to adjust to what you just heard.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be just totally shocked. You're going to probably learn about clones. You're going to learn about the reptilians, maybe and other civilizations. You could be, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be pretty shocking for most people. If you haven't spent, if you haven't spent time doing a lot of truth seeking like we are, you're going to be blown away, because the term that they used was it's going to blow minds. That's coming from the Federation of Light.
Yeah.
Okay, now phase 3 is coming to terms with what happened in phase 2. And they said it here. I wrote this down. Hey, what is revealed in phase 2 will send the world spinning. So phase 3 is the aftermath of phase 2, picking up the pieces, so to speak, and putting them back together. They said it's not just picking up the pieces, but it's putting the pieces back together. And they said in phase 3, life will seem very different. There won't be the waiting around for something to happen. It can't be, because so much will have happened in phase 2. So phase 3 is coming to terms with what is revealed in phase 2. And then the next phase is phase 4. Phase 4 is the opening of the envelopes. Hey, the opening of the envelopes, they've been talking about this in the last few messages. Okay, when the Great Reset happens, and I think that's going to be about the same time that it's either right it's going to be some point after phase 3 and the start, I think, of phase 4, or it's going to be in this phase 4 when we see this solar flash. So the solar flash could happen. I think it's going to probably happen within the next 6 months, but it could be like on maybe the spring equinox, which is not too far away, because they always like to do things on the equinoxes and the solstices. So I always watch those days. Those are always high energy days. They're great days to celebrate and to take in the energies. And so I'm thinking it could be on the spring equinox, but we'll see. It might even be sooner. But anyway, when the solar flash happens, they said you're going to feel like you're reborn. You're reborn again. Okay. And you're going to, some people are going to receive, they referred to as an envelope, which is kind of like a metaphor, meaning you're going to be either getting a download or you're going to be receiving a message from somebody. Could be anybody, maybe a light worker, or maybe somebody that you know that's a high vibration. They're going to come to you and they're going to reveal to you something that you need to be doing or something you need to do. In other words, and if it's a download, it's you coming into a conscious awareness that you need to be doing something other than what you're doing right now. In other words, you're going to start to remember your divine mission as to what you really came here to do. And that's referred to as an envelope. And
Mm,
not everybody's going to get an envelope.
yeah.
Okay. They said the
Yeah.
ones that have chosen to remain in prison in their minds will not receive an envelope.
Yeah. How could they? Yeah.
Because see, they're in that lower vibration. They're refusing to raise their vibration. And so they can't really raise their vibration to a high enough level to carry out whatever divine plan they were supposed to do when they came here. So those are the
Right.
ones that are not going to be probably ascending with Gaia. So you have
Yeah.
the ones that are going to be receiving the energies coming in. They're going to get their envelope one way or another, either a download or through some individual that approaches them and communicates to them what they need to be doing. And they're going to know. They're just going to have an inner knowing, oh yeah, that's what I need to be doing. I need to start doing that. And they start doing it. So that's going to be the ones that are going to be ascending with Gaia, or the ones that receive the envelopes. And then we move into, that's phase 5. Then we move into phase 5. Now they said phase 5 is the glory phase. Now they say when you receive this energy from this and you get your envelope, you're going to be in a sense, it's going to be like you're glowing to other individuals. It's going to be feel like they're going to feel like you're just glowing. Okay. It said the phase 5 is the glory phase. It's the joy phase, the peace phase, laughter phase, kindness phase, giving phase, loving phase, and it said it'd be the world that we know is waiting for us. It's going to be the world that we've always wanted, the world that we're waiting for, and it will. They said there will be. It says it will be. It will. It says your soul will know what souls love. And they said it will be a phase of love and light, truth, and you'll be able to fall into your divine plan and carry your divine mission out. So that's going to be
Nice.
the exciting phase that we're going to be moving into. That's the final phase of the divine plan. Is that glory phase?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So that's worth holding on to when you're going through phase 2 and when you're recovering from phase 2 and phase 3. Really got to hang on to that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and be open to and ready to receive your envelope,
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
I want an envelope.
Yeah, I do too.
That's
And
cool.
maybe some of us are already carrying out what our envelope is going to be. I don't know.
True. True,
Oh,
but
it's a,
we'll be expressing it in a whole different way, I'm sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You
Now
know.
I'm starting to keep up with these galactic messages that I ran into a couple of months ago. There's a guy, I think he's in I don't think he's in the US. I think he's maybe the UK. And what he's been doing is he's gotten together a bunch of light workers that are able to channel different beings, and he takes their messages and he has professional narrators take the message and read it, and then he puts it on video and puts nice scenery and graphics behind it and everything. And
Cool.
when he first put them out, I wanted to read it or listen to him, but he didn't ever have the who channeled the message, and he didn't have always who the entity was that was giving the message, or who the light worker was channeling the message. And I
Yeah.
emailed him and I said, could you please start listing who the light worker is that channeled this and who is the entity that's giving the message? And finally
Yeah.
he started putting that in at the end of the videos, and now I noticed on YouTube, he's got it right finally up front where I can just look at it and see. And that really gives the message a lot more credibility. And that's when I started posting them in my Telegram room. So, and now I'm starting to listen to him almost every, they put out, it takes a lot of work, money, and time to
Yeah.
produce 2 videos. He does 2 videos a day. So he
Wow.
gets 2 knocked out a day, and they come usually around 6 o'clock my time. And I try to get them posted in my chat room before midnight.
Yeah.
Well,
All
tell
right. So that,
people how
Some
to
of them are
get
coming,
to.
and they're coming from all over. That's from the Andromedans, the Syrians, the Arcturians. That's coming from the Pleiadians. It's coming from sometimes from the inner Earth people. But they're all lining up. They're all saying the same thing. We're coming up close to the solar flash. Get ready.
Put your sunglasses on.
Yeah.
well, there's a lot of planning going into this one.
Yeah. Yeah. And see,
Man,
it's the Federation of Light that's overseeing this whole divine plan. And now
yeah.
they just now recently revealed the phases, because for a long time they said there was a divine plan, and they said there's going to be 5 phases, and they said we were in phase 1. And Blossom kept asking him, well, what are the other phases? They said, we can't reveal that yet. It's not the divine timing yet. But just last week she said, well, what, you finally revealed the phases. I'm so excited. Why didn't you reveal them earlier? She said that they told her, they said, Blossom, it's all divine timing. And the timing is right for them to be revealed right now.
It's true. Everything is divine timing.
Yeah.
But, when you were talking about how the dark agenda, how their plans are going awry, I had a picture of that, like all these dark figures in a room, just being really mad, just
Right.
totally torqued. Things are going wrong, and that's screwed up. That's not supposed to happen. They might be in phase 2.
Right. Yeah, they probably have their emergency board meetings all the time.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what upsets them, there's only 2 agendas, in government and by the dark forces, and that is money and power, and not necessarily in that order.
Right.
So what upsets them more than anything, if when they're losing money.
Right.
And the new system coming in, which they have been working on, we know they have been working on it. It's some of it will be funneled probably through BRICS, but because of that, they're going to lose power, because without money, they don't have anything. Nobody likes them.
Right. Well, another thing that these energies do is when they come in and they raise the vibration, it causes well, okay, let me say this. When we came in on the planet, we were in a lower vibration of 3D. And anything below 5D is considered duality. Okay, and duality is where you have light versus dark. They compete with each other. Love versus fear, they compete. So duality is where you compete with love and fear, darkness and light. And so we've been in that battle. We've been going back and forth in that for decades, okay? But now we're going to be moving out of duality, because when we shift into 5D, fear goes away and darkness goes away, and there's nothing but just light and love. Okay. So that's why it's the glory phase. That's why it's the phase where it's just like heaven on earth. So that's what we're that's what we're going to try to do, is create heaven on earth. So as we shift into 5D, anyone that remains in that low fear state, or that low vibration that wants to stay in duality, they will be leaving the planet one way or another. And they'll have to go to another duality planet. Now, some people will just, they'll leave their physical body, and pass on, and then maybe incarnate on another planet, but they won't be able to incarnate on this planet, because we're ascending to 5D, and they're not ready for that. So they would have to ascend on another duality planet. But for those there might be some people that actually get to leave planet Earth in their physical body, but they would just be transported to a duality planet and pick up over there. But I'm hearing if that happens, you will get a new veil so that you will not remember your time on Earth.
Oh,
You'll
wow.
be starting all over, and you'll have to learn how to ascend on that planet. So you'll
Wow.
either have to learn how to be an ascended master and ascend on your own individually, or you'll have to wait till that planet ascends and then ascend with the collective as that planet ascends. And that could take as long as 25,000 years. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
if you want to ascend now, now's the time to do it. This is the greatest opportunity. And they've said there's no amount of money that's worth more than this ascension, not even $1 trillion. No, there's nothing more valuable than trying to ascend with Gaia, because you don't want to. Now they say it's a choice, and there are some people that aren't ready, and there's no judgment if you're not ready, and there should be no judgment. It just means you're going to take a little longer. That's all.
Right. Right.
Some people will ascend now because they're ready, and those that aren't are going to just take a longer time. We all
yeah.
eventually go back to source. It's just a
Mhm.
question of how long do you want to take to go back to source. You know,
Right.
some people are going to take a longer time and have more experiences and learn more lessons, and that's fine. So there should be no judgment. They're just choosing to learn more lessons. That's all.
Right. That's right. That's
Mm.
right.
But I am ready to move on myself. I've had enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I want my envelope, please.
Yeah, I am
Can
ready
we,
to get out of duality.
uh, I think we have a, well, somewhat of an understanding of what could happen, but could we maybe switch to another subject? There has been so much talk about these things flying in the sky over New Jersey. And
Sure.
I think there's more than one of them. There's government is coming out, sure, here, it's got propellers, it's ours. Well, maybe not, because there are others that show up as plasma balls, and I'm not so sure that is ours. What do you think on this?
Well, I've been listening to some of those light worker messages that have come through, and we get some from Ashtar and we get some from other various beings. And they've said that it's definitely some of these ships are definitely not their ships. They're either a government program, maybe a black ops program, or could be a psyops program. But they say they have admitted that some of their ships are mixed in there. And they've
Mhm.
said that the ships that look like they could be an orb or some sort of a plasma type thing is most likely one of their craft.
Mm.
And I think that their reason for being there is just to, I think, oversee the operation to make sure nothing, no foul play happens or nothing major happens that would upset the ascension timeline. Now I think they said that, like, I've been hearing different sources, and some sources say that uh decades ago there were some suitcase nukes that were smuggled into the United States, and they're in different parts of the United States. And these drones have the ability to monitor gamma radiation coming off from these nuclear uh,
Yeah, we are still on
yeah,
YouTube. We better be careful with that one.
right. And so they say that
Well, call them suitcases. That was good, Bill.
yeah.
Yeah,
So these suitcases probably could be here, but I kind of think I don't really think that I think they probably have already been neutralized, because the
yeah,
Galactics are always monitoring that type of stuff, and they have the ability to, like in nuclear warheads, they can make the nuclear warhead inert by
yeah,
making sure that what they do is they make sure that the radioisotope inside the nuclear warhead becomes inert, and they can do that remotely in their own craft. So
yeah,
I've heard that all the nuclear facilities have already been deactivated, whether our military knows it or not. And if there are any that aren't deactivated, or made inert, then their ships are monitoring, and they will make sure that they don't hit anyone or destroy anything on the planet. Because if a nuke were to go off, and what would happen is it would destroy not only Gaia, but they said it has ramifications throughout the entire universe. And it would
Yeah,
affect the Hollow Earth people as well. And so they're going to
yeah,
make sure that does not happen. And that would also upset the Ascension timeline. So they have the freedom, even though they have to follow the Prime Directive and they're not allowed to interfere with our free will. That's one of those exceptions that they will intervene on, and they do have permission to do so. And
yeah.
they have many times in the past already. Because there's been
Now,
times we have launched and they have intervened.
Hmm.
yeah, and this may sound very far out there for a lot of people, but there are military officers that has come out and said, yes, there were ships sitting over the silo, and the device in the silo was made inert.
Right,
So, yeah,
right.
there's military testimonies on this.
Yeah, and they turn it off, and then when everything is safe and the coast is clear, then they turn it back on again or whatever,
Yeah,
and things go back to normal. Now, you were asking about these new structures. When these energies come in, what they do is they collapse the old 3D controlling structures because they don't fit in with the 5D energies. And so that's where we're going to start to see a crumbling of all the old 3D control structures that the cabal set up. Things like this, like our current financial system, our fiat financial system. That thing is on the verge of collapse right now. But what's really nice and cool, if you do any research and keep up with things, is that the Earth Alliance and the White Hats and the good, which is the Earth Alliance is made up of the good military, and they're working with the Galactics, primarily the Pleiadians. And the Pleiadians and them have formed together. And we entered into a treaty, I think, when Trump was president the first time in 2022, I think is when they formed a treaty. Now, they tried to form a treaty with us back in the 1950s
yeah,
and with Eisenhower. And that's when Val Thor was here, and he tried to make an offer with Eisenhower and enter into a treaty. But the treaty that he wanted for us is that we would get rid of all of our nukes. And but he said if we did, he would have we would be able to. They would share with us new technology. They would eliminate all sickness and disease. They would get rid of all of our pollution, and as all we had to do was get rid of our nukes. But Eisenhower, being a military man, and all of his advisors said no way. So he turned the deal
yeah,
down, and they went with the Greys and the Reptilians instead, and they entered into a treaty with them. So that went on with all these abductions that went on for years because of that treaty. And then finally, on this after this COVID thing, and Trump got in there, they tried to renegotiate a new deal, and that's when their Earth Alliance formed, and that formed the new treaty that we're now working with, and they're actually here helping us and assisting us to make all these big transformations and go and move into the new 5D Earth. And so they're
mhm,
here to assist now, and that's why they're working with the military and so forth to put together these new structures, and these are 5D structures. So, for instance, you were talking about our current financial system. Well, see, that one's going to collapse, but it's going to be replaced. Now, it would be total chaos if we didn't have something to replace it. So, all the
yeah,
Earth Alliance is doing is they're working to get all these 5D structures in place to replace all the old crumbling ones. Okay, so the quantum financial system is getting very, very close to being announced. I'm hearing that they're probably going to be they're trying to get the new gold-backed currency, which is called the USN and the USTN. I think one is overseas and one is in domestic, but it's going to be gold-backed from the U.S. Treasury, and that's supposed to. They're working to get that made public tomorrow. Now,
Wow.
they're going to make a big public announcement, but I think they might stick it on the U.S. Treasury website. That's where you'll see it. When it goes on the U.S. Treasury website, they consider that being made public. Okay.
Mm.
Later
Mhm.
on, it might actually be maybe part of these 10 days of disclosure announcements or the great reveal. But when they get that published that's when it becomes official, is when they publish it on the U.S. Treasury website. So when that
Mhm.
happens, then we can go through the reevaluation of currencies for those countries that had a very low rate due to war and revolution. They're going to revalue. And then when they revalue, everybody comes on the same page, and the other countries around the world will back their currency with gold as well. And then when that happens, that's when NESARA and GESARA start coming into play. I think we'll get NESARA announced sometime, they say, in January.
Soon.
NESARA is the National
Wow.
Economic Security and Reformation Act. And that will be, it has about 20 different parts, and it's going to help unleash, I think, 7,000 different patents, including med beds, 7,000 different, technologies that were suppressed by the cabal, the dark ones. So that's going to,
Thank
I mean,
God.
think about those 7,000 technologies that were suppressed. When those get released,
Yeah,
yeah, that's going to help transform the planet. That's going to make,
absolutely.
that'll help make heaven on earth, just that aspect in itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting because I'm seeing like little glimmers of it coming. There's a young woman who has been getting healings. She had cancer, got healed. She just graduated high school. And now some cells came back in her head, and somebody, I don't know who, has made available to her every piece of equipment that could possibly help her heal. And her mother put a picture on the internet where they knocked out a whole window and a wall to get her a hyperbaric chamber in her house. So, it's like I'm seeing little glimmers of it, and I'm just thinking, that could be a med bed soon.
Right. Yeah. I'm hearing the
Yeah.
med is going to be made available in January.
That'd
And
be
I think
so.
the main person that's been giving us some updates on that from the Earth Alliance is Carrie Ann Thornton. That's her. She went by another name, Sky Prince at first, but her real name is Carrie Ann Thornton. And she got a message from the Galactic saying that they're going to actually do a live stream of her medbed session. And we'll get to
Wow.
watch that. We'll get to watch that live stream of her session with the med beds. And when we're watching that, there's going to be an 800 number or a number at the bottom of the screen, depending on where you live. And you can call that number and you'll be able to schedule your appointment.
Wow.
And now now there's three kinds of med beds. There's the holographic med bed. Then that's the one that can actually return you back to your divine blueprint and can heal just about any disease. I think any disease, because once you go back to your divine blueprint, you're healed. And then, of course, there is the regenerative med beds. That's the one that can regenerate organs. And according
Cool.
to Carrie Ann, you can go in there and you can get a whole new set of teeth. Wouldn't you love to have a whole new set of teeth?
Wow. Wow. There's a lot of people out there who is on the waiting list for organs that would be
Yeah.
taken.
Oh, I forgot to mention a very important thing. The med beds are free. There will be no charge. Okay. And now the third med bed is the regression med beds. That's for age regression. Okay.
Mm.
And I don't think they don't don't do anything with your brain. Okay. But they will reset your whole body chemistry and everything back. Now, I think the most you can regress back to is 25 years. Okay. I'll take it. I'll take 25 years off.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And of course, you got to remember that as these energies come in and we keep moving to a higher vibration, your body will start to de-age on its own. Okay.
Yes.
Over time, you're going to gradually get younger and younger until you start to look like you're 30, just a 30-year-old.
Yeah, that will
Like Val
happen.
Thor. Val Thor, when he's on our planet, he looks about 30 years old, but he's really 3,500 years old.
Wow.
That's so funny. That's so funny. That's so amazing. Well, this is a beautiful note to end on. It's been a fast hour, Bill. Tell people how they can reach you and join your
I have a Telegram group, and I don't know if Augie got that posted.
Yes, they said they put it on there, but mention it anyway.
Okay, it's it's the name of the name of the Telegram group is New Earth Happenings and Libertarian Projects. Libertarian is a word I made up because I didn't like the definition of humanitarian. I
Love
think
that.
one old law dictionary even has the definition of monster in there. And it's really crazy definitions of they've kind of changed it. It just means welfare for humans. And I wanted a term that meant not just welfare, but how about love for not just
Yeah.
you, but animals, everything. So I came up with well, actually, the person that came up with the name is Ren Owens. Okay. And I borrowed the name from her. So, but I liked it so much because it's more all encompassing and it
It
encompasses
is.
just welfare for humans. So that's when I say libertarian projects, I'm talking about people that are planning to do some type of a project
Yeah.
to help this planet Earth. And I thought libertarian was a better word than humanitarian.
Oh, it's a fabulous word. It's the best.
Yeah.
It really
So,
is.
so that's what I've called my group. It's called New Earth Happenings and Libertarian Projects. And you can try doing a search on Telegram to find it because I can actually give you the deal, but it's kind of cryptic the way they give these links out. And I don't know if I can really, I mean, I can read it here. Of course, it's HTTPS and then colon / and then t.me, that gets you to Telegram, and then another / and then it's a plus, capital A, capital S, capital G, lower Z, capital L, capital Z, capital A, capital Q, capital P, capital Y, capital B. I'm sorry, lowercase y, capital B, lowercase k, capital M, lowercase z, capital M, lowercase 5, or just number 5. So it's cryptic, but if it's below the player, they can just click on that and then say join.
Great. That's great, Bill. Bill, thank
Yeah.
you so much. It's so good to catch up with you again, and you always have what's happening. I mean, you never disappoint.
Well, now you
Thank you.
know the
Yeah.
divine plan. You got the overall
Yeah.
divine plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You're our favorite galactic journalist, that's for sure.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
I'm going to be doing my own libertarian projects here pretty soon. So when I get ready to start those, if you want to have me on again, I can tell it more about my project. Right now, it's kind of under the wraps until I get the funding for it and I protect
Yeah.
the intellectual property. But then I'll start making it more public and I'll get it out to everybody so they can join or be part of the project.
Sounds
Absolutely.
good.
Just let us know when you can talk about that, and we'll definitely
Okay.
have you back on. Yeah. So thank you, Bill. Thank you, Augie. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Happy holidays if you partake of them. And if not, just so much love to you and even more love. Take care, everybody.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Okay. Hey, good night.